Romans chapter 6, verse number 1, the Apostle Paul would ask this question. What shall we say then? Shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? Certainly not. Welcome to this, your daily 180 Bible study. We're wrapping up a study on the conversion of Lydia and some of the lessons that we can glean from her life and her conversion. And one of the things that we saw yesterday was that she was striving to be faithful. And the reality is we can't just live any old way that we please. We need to be striving to live faithful. Now, let me say this about faithfulness. We understand what faithful means. I didn't say that we need to live perfect in the respect that we never make a mistake, never have a flaw. No. If you were to ask Teresa Haywood, my wife, is Bill Haywood a perfect husband? Well, if she got real honest with you, she'd have to say, no, he's not perfect, but he's faithful. And that's what God is looking for from us, is faithfulness. We must be faithful to Him. And Paul goes on in Romans chapter 6 and he points out that when we were baptized, we were making a strong, powerful, ethical statement. Now the reality is sins are washed away, but we're also making a commitment about the way that we're going to be living henceforth. Notice what he says. Certainly not. How can we who died to sin live any longer in it? Or do you not know that as many of us as were baptized into Christ were baptized into His death? Therefore we were buried with Him through baptism into death, that just as Christ was raised from the dead by the glory of the Father, even so we also should walk in newness of life. You see, when we're baptized, we're saying certain things. If you have been baptized for the forgiveness of sins, not church membership in some denomination, but in accordance with what we're taught in the Scriptures, you're saying certain things. Number one, you're saying that you desire to walk in newness of life. There's been a change of mind. You repented, and now you're declaring, I am dying to that old way of life. Now, it doesn't mean that you don't struggle, but you've changed your mind about how you feel about those things. I don't want to do that anymore. Not only that, when you were baptized, you've said, I am making a commitment to the bond of unity. Isn't it amazing? In 1 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 10, we're told that we're to speak the same thing, we're to have the same judgment. Isn't it amazing that many people who claim to be Christians have no problem with all the religious division? What then were they baptized into? The reality, folks, as we look at Lydia, we need to realize we need to become a child of God just like Lydia did. Join us again next week for your Daily 180.